Check out the video description for details. Thursday, October 19th, and today we're going to touch base again on TRXC. We're going to look at IBM, and the main thing we're going to talk about today is ACTIVISION is in the news with something that gamers they may not like with what they're doing. So we'll look at that from an investment standpoint and a consumer standpoint. But first, let's touch base on a hot stock. It's up roughly 150%. We've talked about it. They got FDA approval on using robots for surgery. And looking at this stock, it's about it's pulled back about 10% today. We're going to add it to our watch list to see where it settles out. Potential buy-in for a long shot stock. A couple of our viewers have already bought it, and they got the 50% bump plus. But we're going to keep an eye on it. It's starting to settle a little bit, and certainly could be a good long-term stock potential. Another stock that we keep an eye on is IBM, and IBM just had their Q3 earnings, and I'll put a link to the articles in the video description here. But they beat the top and bottom line, but still the 22nd consecutive quarter with declining revenues, and that's where people still have some hesitation on IBM stock. Now, I would like to see IBM, I'd like to see them really push Watson as a AI for video games, characters and things like that. And they're already starting to get some developer tools out there, and I think they could really break ground on that and get some new revenues, which they've been trying to do as they transition their business. But $15 billion in free cash flow, $45 billion in debt, $12 billion in cash. Not as good as some balance sheets that we've seen, but they pay a solid dividend, and there's certainly going to be some buying opportunities. They're up about 9% since the earnings, but they're trust me, they'll slide back down as people forget about IBM. They have a tendency to do so, certainly. So more buying opportunities, and we'll keep an eye definitely as they get more into gaming. Now, the big thing I wanted to talk about was Activision Blizzard, and there was a story over at Charlie Intel, and that's where we get a lot of our Call of Duty news and things like that. But they had this story up about a patent which basically shows Activision using matchmaking as a way to encourage players to buy the microtransactions. So basically they will pitch you up against people that are stronger than you, that have certain skins for their guns or things like that. So you see this guy basically smoke you in the match, and you want the cool weapon or whatever, a skin for the weapon that he has, and different things like that. So there's been an update on this, and they say that this is not implemented, and this was just something that they were thinking about. And it doesn't say they won't do that in the future, but they just say it's not something that's active that they're using now. From an investment standpoint, this is one of the reasons why I love Activision stock. It's they figure out the best way to monetize their games in a way that's not off-putting. Now, this may cross over into territory where it is off-putting for people, and they got to be very careful about that, because there's been some blowback on this. Certainly, I wouldn't be too happy if they manipulated the matchmaking. My KD ratio is still terrible as it is. Certainly on the Xbox. It used to be pretty good on the Nintendo Wii, but terrible right now. Not too happy about that as a consumer. I'd rather some fair matchups made. I can see if you're really into it, wanting some competitive matches and things like that. But I don't know. Consumer, I don't like the practice of trying to push and manipulate the microtransactions. I've never used a microtransaction in a game, nor do I think I would. I like the balance of like the gobble gum in Black Ops, where I guess if you were really into it, you could buy some more to get some more. But I felt like you got enough playing it that you had a good amount. I mean, I've got tons of them that I don't really use, but I could see where it would enhance your game if you really wanted to do that, but you really don't miss anything from the game. So I think they're good with microtransactions that way, and they make it a lot of money. Really pushing people to do it, certainly that would be good bottom line for the company and the stock as an investor, but not so much as a gamer. So the update on the story, and I'll post the link in the video description. They're not using it. They don't do it yet. I kind of hope that they don't as a consumer. I don't want to see that type of manipulation. Keep it good balanced, and keep it as a way to enhance the game. If people really want to drop a buck here or there, they'll make plenty of money that way, and that'll satisfy the consumers and investors. But still like their stock, still think it's a top stock to own, definitely. But that's it for today's episode. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave us some feedback. Put your stock tips in the comments. Always like to hear those. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you get the latest investing news for gamers. That's it. We'll see you next show. Thanks for watching.